Are you ready to go around the world? Sit back, relax, and buckle your seatbelt as we take off for an adventure. It's jet-lag-free but filled full of fun and travel insights. The only thing you'll need to pack is a sense of humor. Time for the award-winning travel show, Around the World.
Welcome, Globetrotters and armchair travelers, to another edition of Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger. Today we have the beautiful Rebekah Kjos with us, who has just got in from Japan.
I did, just off the plane. I still have jet lag.
Unbelievable. Well,
but I'm here with you.
It's going to be so exciting because we're going to get a chance to find out about a very unknown area of Japan.
Absolutely.
That you were kind of a pioneer
in the middle of.
Right.
Literally in the middle of it.
Literally, and when we say it was green and beautiful, because there
up
was
to my shoulders.
in a thing called matcha.
Yes.
If you don't know what matcha is, you're going to want to find out. If you do know what matcha is, you're going to want to watch, because Rebekah is going to tell you things that probably very few people know about.
And some incredible pictures too.
And you're going to maybe make a ceremonial matcha drink for us.
So I was trained by the best.
Wow, I feel a yen coming on. Okay. Also joining us today on Around the World is Max Hartshorne. He is from GoNomad.com. He's going to be taking us to France, where he just got back from. And Bonnie, Tandy Leblang, our wonderful theater critic from New York, also food and travel critic, has been up at the Hudson Yards and discovered some great things to eat there and do there. So we'll get a little bit of New York culture. Later on, Jim Buckley, who is the publisher of the Montecito Journal, will be joining us. And Jim just came back from barges in Europe. He was traveling all around Europe in barges. It's turning into a feature story in Montecito magazine, in his magazine, which is going to be called, I think it's Europe on Water, which doesn't sound bad.
Like an amazing experience.
We got Japan on matcha, Europe on water.
Japan with sake.
And here we are in Santa Barbara on
a beautiful
champagne.
Day.
Yeah, on a beautiful day. So we've got that and much, much more in this edition of Around the World. But first, it's time for Travel News.
Yay.
Travel News is brought to you by the internet website www.atw.tv, the first place to go, even to visit the last place on Earth. And speaking of one of the great places to go, one of my favorite cities on the planet is Paris, France.
Never been.
Sacre bleu. It is so beautiful. And you know, Paris is always trying to reinvent itself and adding to its culture, and its culture involves not only art and music, but food and wine and just so many different elements. And one of the places that's synonymous with fantastic, in my book, is Fauchon. Forever, Fauchon has been the place to go to get the best food, the best wines, the best teas, the best everything. And they have a hotel. Who knew that?
You don't have to leave.
It's right around the corner from their store, which is a beautiful location. Anyway, this hotel called the Fauchon L'Hôtel Paris is got 54 guest rooms and suites. It's a boutique hotel, so it's small and intimate, but beautifully designed, very exotic colors. It's a member of the leading hotels of the world. And they've added a new concept, something that really caught my eye when I heard about it. It's a gourmet minibar.
Gourmet.
Yeah, and you know the mini bars they put in hotels.
Yeah.
And usually you open up and there's stuff you don't want to eat, or stuff you do want to eat and eat too much of it, and it's not a good thing.
You shouldn't eat.
Yeah.
You have no choice.
Well, this is a mini bar like no other. In fact, someone said it's a mini bar on steroids. Because it's only got Fauchon products in there.
Wow.
And when you arrive, you can identify what you want. Like if you want salty selection, they'll get you the salty nuts and stuff like that. If you've got a sweet tooth, they'll give you all the sweet stuff that they do. If you want healthy, then they'll look at a healthy diet.
Wow.
And they restock it every day, along with a bottle of champagne every day, all included. In fact, people
included?
Yes, it's included with your room. So and so when you stay there, if you decide you haven't eaten at all, they'll pack it up for you so you can take it home with you. Isn't that just amazing?
What service? Goodness.
I want to go.
I want to experience all of it.
This wonderful hotel, rates start at €580 a night. And I think it's going to be a place to go. By the way, they also have great coffees and great teas.
Wow.
I'm not sure about matcha. You may need to talk to them.
I might need to go visit and
there you
educate
go. There's
them
a
and
reason.
show them.
You got it. You got it. So, moving right along, you have some travel news for us.
Well, this is pretty fun. So the Hilton London Bankside has the first vegan suite, I believe, in the entire world.
A vegan suite?
A vegan suite, like everything. I mean, you've heard about plant-based being, kind of the next thing, especially in the food and health industry. Well, I thought it was really fun that the suite is plant-based.
So they actually
So the
built
floor is bamboo.
Wow.
The pillows, I mean, everything from the pillows to the toiletries, everything is eco-friendly, everything is planet-friendly, and I mean, really in time and in tune with what's happening in the world right now.
Wow.
Because there is so much focus on, quality of life and
What an interesting
sustainability.
idea. Huh.
And the foods even, I mean, I'm not vegan, but I do eat a lot of vegetarian foods and a lot of plant-based. So this is actually kind of getting me excited.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a full-on...
and it's in London, which is sort
and
of
in London.
interesting, because
Yeah.
you don't really think of London being
No,
that...
I know. It's very progressive, though.
Yeah, I guess
it
is.
It
in
really,
a really nice
it's
way.
really, really special.
And so, like, even the cleaning products are
the
probably...
cleaning products, and even they said when you check in, the booth is, I believe, like pineapple, and I mean, they have thought of every detail.
Wow.
I mean...
So you could eat the booth.
You get hungry, you could probably roast it,
Well, that's really great. So this is the Hilton, I think
It's the Hilton London Bankside.
Bankside.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like a really different kind of experience.
It really does. Even if you're not vegan, I mean, it would
might be really nice,
amazing.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got, cleaning products. You're breathing in no chemicals.
Wow. I kind of like that idea.
So
I
you're
want to try
feel
that.
good there.
Yeah. Well, there's an interesting story. There's a guy named Matt Jost. He was in Barcelona a number of years ago. And Matt's gay, and he and his partner arrived at an Airbnb, or I think it was an Airbnb. Anyway, it was some sort of apartment room.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the person who owned it, the host, was homophobic.
Really?
And freaked out that they were actually going to share a room together. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So, I mean, Matt was
that's sad.
apparently, really shocked by it, and it really put a damper on the vacation.
Yeah,
They've
you're
gone
going to
all
have
this
a
way.
fun time.
You want to go have a good time, and you don't even want to
Yeah.
think that people really still think like that.
Yeah,
let alone.
no.
And Barcelona is such a great city anyway.
Yeah.
Let's go. What happened
that's
here?
sad.
Well, it's sad, but he came up with a solution. He thought about it, and he decided he was going to make an Airbnb type website for the gay community.
Wow.
And so he launched, which is now a very successful website called MrBnB.com. That's Mr. the letter B and B.com.
That's fun.
It's headquartered in 3 places: Los Angeles, Peru, and Paris.
And Paris. Wow.
Sacré bleu.
Sure it'll grow.
So he started it in 2013.
Wow.
And it's really aimed for the LGBTQ community. And it's got kind of 2 parameters in order to be a qualified apartment or villa or house, whatever. First, they prefer it's gay owned,
Right.
or the host is gay, or at least it's an ally to the gay friendly world.
Right. Makes sense.
So that makes sense. And then secondly, they want to help let the visitors know what the gay community activities are, the events that are going on. Certainly, it's very lively during the Pride celebrations.
Of course.
And then they want to know about the gayborhoods.
I haven't heard
I just heard that word today. Gayborhoods. So I thought, well, let me check this out. I'm not gay, but I appreciate the gay community very much.
Yes.
There is I checked Santa Barbara just on their website. See what it would be. So I explored their rooms, and right away up came a couple of gay rooms they could rent. One of them was a private room in Santa Barbara, for $90 a night.
Wow.
Oh, not bad, huh?
Wow, that's really good.
Might drive me to... Never mind. They also had another one, which is up near the Botanic Gardens, which are beautiful.
I love the Botanic Gardens.
And this was a really nice room, peace and quiet, close to town, $175 a night.
That's good.
Which seems really good.
The gardens.
Anyway, check it out. It's called MrBnB.com. And that wraps it up for Travel News. As I said, Travel News is brought to you by the internet website, www.atw.tv, the first place to go, even to visit the last place on earth. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be traveling to the beautiful, gay France. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Canaan of mine, friend for all time. So glad you're my best friend. Through thick and thin, we'll see things through. Canaan of mine, so true.
For the complete A to Z of everything to do with animals, go to animalzone.org.
Bonjour Alex.
Bonjour Renaud.
Happiness? It's great food prepared the French way.
Chocolate eclair.
What makes you happy?
A touch of Paris.
Without the trip to France. Handcrafted daily in our bakeries especially for you. Indulge yourself.
Bon appétit.
Please visit Renaud's in Gelston, Santa Barbara, Long Beach, and La Cañada, Flint Ridge.
And we're back here on Around the World. I'm Arthur von Wiesenberger. Rebekah Kjos is with us, and we are having a great time traveling
we are.
across the globe in our little tiny airplane here. Yeah,
Pretty nice.
I want to go in the back and,
I don't mind.
and get some drinks. I'm ready to have a little matcha or something. But anyway, we're going to go and fly to the East Coast and join the editor and owner of GoNomad.com, Max Hartshorne. Hello, Max.
Hey, good to be with you and Rebekah, flying high above the skies.
Hello.
We're heading your direction, and but I understand you just got back from even further east. You went over to France.
I did. I had a wonderful trip. You know, France is celebrating this year because it's, there's always a good reason to celebrate the most visited country in the world, but they're celebrating the top 29 cities of France. And among those cities are Versailles, Lille, Toulouse, and many other ones, but the ones we visited were Versailles and Lille and France, as they say, France.
In France, where the champagne comes from, huh?
Oui.
Oh.
But I'd like to talk about Versailles. To start up with, Versailles was my first stop, and it's really a great place. And you know, you've been to the palace, of course. We've all been to the Versailles Palace, or many of us have been to the Versailles Palace, but it's overshadowing the rest of Versailles, and there's lots of more to know about in Versailles. That's what I wanted to share. Some of the things we did besides the cathedral.
Well, now Max, I'm a little bit handicapped because I've never been to Versailles, so I'm going to take notes. But tell me, first of all, how far is Versailles from Paris?
It's a short ride. It's about 40 minutes from Paris, so maybe a half an hour on a train.
Right.
Straight shot. There's a couple of different stations. The Versailles Palace was the hunting lodge of Louis XIV, and he became the official palace after it was renovated and created into the most elaborate, crazy palace you've ever seen. It's legendary, and everybody loves it, and there's 10 million people a year visiting this chateau, as they call it.
Sounds like a great place to have a pied-à-terre. Now, when you get to the palace, is there entry fee to get onto the property, or do you have to, or once you get in the door?
Oh, it's a big hassle. It's $25 to go to the Versailles Cathedral. It's well worth it. It's such a monumental place. But there's a line that's out the door. There's a line for 2 hours to get in on a good day. So it's really, really legendary that it's too crowded for words. But there are certain ways you could do it. Don't go on Tuesdays, for instance. That's the worst day. Don't go on Easter week. That's the worst time. It's just, even if you go in the middle of February, it's still going to be crowded.
Wow.
That's the only problem with the cathedral. With the chateau. It's just so popular. It's just absolutely. But there's things you can do. For instance, you can visit the gardens of the Chateau de Versailles without paying admission to see the chateau.
And those
gardens.
Those gardens are replicated around the world. Everyone tries to make gardens that look somewhat like the gardens of Versailles. I don't think anyone's ever successfully done it, but
Oh yeah, I mean
They're
they're the
famous.
most beautiful gardens during the season. There's actually these pineapple trees, there's orange trees, there's all these different fruit trees, thousands of them that they bring out when it's warmer weather. It's acres and acres of land that you can walk around, and there's beautiful lakes, and there's ponds and decorative fountains and beautiful artwork. So you can do that. But the other thing you can do without a big line at all is to go to the King's Garden. The King's Garden was a dramatic garden that was created to actually grow vegetables for the royal family, the whole court.
Hey, speaking of gardens and staying in place, where did you stay when you were there?
We stayed at a wonderful hotel right smack in the middle. It's a hotel. It was a property. I'm just looking now to get the exact name for it. It's called the Hotel Le Louis Versailles Chateau. It's an M Gallery by Sofitel, and it's literally, you can see the palace. You can see the chateau from the hotel. It's a wonderful hotel, 4-star hotel, really great, Sofitel, and they have a wonderful restaurant as well, very elegant.
Did you eat in the restaurant?
We did eat in the restaurant. Everything we ate in Versailles was just tremendous. The most dramatic thing I think we had in Versailles was we went to Alain Ducasse's restaurant. Alain Ducasse, the most famous chef in France. He's got 11 outposts around Paris, and he's got a restaurant in the Palace of Versailles.
Wow. That's pretty nice. It's cooking for a king, kind of a king crowd. And was there any? We're looking at something that looks pretty tasty. Was there any dishes you had that were particularly memorable?
Oh, well, the Angus steak was unbelievably tender, and of course, foie gras. How can you go wrong with foie gras? It was just over the top. Every time we had another meal, it was just something different. Vegetables, the way they're so presented so well, and that I tell you, the Alain Ducasse did a really Ducasse's restaurant was really first rate too. The other thing that's interesting is happening in Versailles. They're building a 5-star hotel right next to the chateau, which is kind of unheard of to have a commercial establishment right next to a palace, French government-owned palace. But they're building this wonderful hotel. It's going to be a 20-room hotel. Imagine how fancy this will be. It's going to be called the Love Hotel Collection. Wow. And it's going to be quite fancy.
Now, were you there on a Saturday?
I was not there I got there on a Sunday. So it wasn't as bad. But I was told that, basically there used to be, a lot of times when you could get into the chateau and it wasn't crowded. But at this point, it's just so popular. Everybody really wants to see the chateau. And the influx of Asian tourists it's pretty impressive when you go there. There's so many people from different nations like China and Japan. It's really staggering how many of people of that part of the world love the chateau, and so that is partly why there's such crowds, because there's so many people from Asia that love seeing it.
Max, did you see any kind of? I know there's other cities. I was in Toulouse a while back that had been affected by the Yellow Jackets and some of the protests and vandalism. Did you see any of that in Versailles?
No, it didn't really have anything like that. No, there was no problems about that. I did hear about it. No, there were some situations in which the airports were being closed and roads were being closed and stuff, but didn't really get into that at all. But there was one thing we did in Versailles, which if you do go to Versailles and you do visit the palace, which is certainly I would recommend you do that, you can go to a thing called Reminiscence. And it's a dinner that you can have. And if you go to GoNomad.com, we just published a story about Versailles, and you can read a little bit about this. It's a fun dinner where they dress up just like Louis XIV costumes, and they do kind of a court intrigue, palace intrigue in English. And it's really fun. During the dinner, they have sort of a little back and forth between the characters wearing these great wigs and great outfits that they wear. It looks like Louis XIV. It's a lot of fun. And it's called Reminiscence. And it's right in Versailles. The dinner was really good, but it's just a fun thing to do. And the other thing is the market in Versailles is really neat. Huge, big market for flowers and produce and fresh seafood, and it's a really great market if you like markets.
Oh yeah, I mean, in fact, I think the French markets are one of the first things I go to when I go to a town. It's always, you get a pulse of the city by looking at what they're selling and what they have. And I was in Toulouse and went to the market there, which has all this, if you like foie gras, it is foie gras heaven. The weirdest thing about Toulouse was I kept asking the producers of this foie gras, I said, that looks great, I'd like to have some. They said, we'll sell you it. I said, but I'm in a hotel, I can't cook it in my hotel room. I said, where can I go and get some foie gras? No one had foie gras on their menus in Toulouse.
Really?
That was like
they didn't. Oh, when I was in Toulouse, we had foie gras at the restaurant, but it's too bad. But you don't have to cook foie gras. You just open up a tin and take a big bite.
Yeah, I wanted fresh foie gras, sauté à la poêle. It's my favorite. But I guess I got to go to Toulouse with you because you know where to get it.
You got to go to anywhere in the Southwest for sure. But Versailles again. Go to Versailles and go to the restaurant, or feel like a real fancy guy. In fact, you can avoid the big line. That there's a couple-hour line to get into the palace, but you can actually make a reservation and go to Alain Ducaisse's restaurant inside the chateau without having to wait. You can go in the side door. So that's one tip.
Good tip. Good tip. I guess they can get more tips if they go to your website, gonomad.com. And we're going to get you back on in the very near future telling us about some other French cities you've been to, like maybe Reims and Lille.
Yes, indeed. I look forward to that. I am off next week to Italy for a couple of weeks, so I'll have some good stories to tell from that as well. Always good to be with you guys.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Max Hartshorne from GoNomad.com. We're going to take a quick break.
Okay.
When we come back, we got more travel here on Around the World. Stay tuned.
The Santa Barbara Humane Society is an independent, local, community-based nonprofit with adoptable animals ready to find a forever home today.
The Santa Barbara Humane Society offers low-cost spay, neuter, and vaccinations to cats and dogs in our community. And Dr. Sisk is our veterinarian who performs those surgeries and helps with the vaccinations. Also, please have a relationship with your local veterinarian in case of an emergency.
Visit sbhumanesociety.org and remember,
at the Santa Barbara Humane Society, we want you to adopt, not shop.
And welcome back to Around the World.
Hello.
Rebekah Kjos with us. We are just screaming through the stratosphere on this wonderful plane as we make our way. We're heading to New York, unique New York. We're going to join one of our favorite people on Around the World. She's our theater critic. She's our travel critic. She's our food critic. She produces the Bite of the Best publication website. It's wonderful. But most of all, she's a dear friend, Bonnie, Tandy Leblang. And hello, Bonnie.
Hi, Arthur and Rebekah. Nice to be here with you this afternoon.
Great to have you on board and joining us. And, you know, I've always looked towards you to find the most interesting and unknown discoveries in travel. And you really hit me this time because I'd never even heard of the Hudson Yards. So tell me a little bit about that. Where'd you find it? How'd you hear about it?
That's pretty amazing. When you're in New York, it's the biggest thing that anyone is talking about right now. It's been a development. There's been some controversy with it, but we'll talk about all the positive stuff. Hudson Yards was built the west side of Manhattan in an area that was a train station where they used to put all the trains, the subways and things. It's built over that. It's a whole new complex with many apartments you can rent, buy. And with that, a very upscale, let's call it a mall, although it's not a mall because it's in the city. Then it has an entertainment center called The Shed, and one of the most interesting, we'll go back to The Shed, but one of the most interesting things, in addition to all the restaurants there, is something called The Vessel. And I've sent you lots of pictures of that vessel. It is a public structure, it's public art that's become the landmark. And they started building it maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and it cost about $200 million. It is a 150-foot high structure with connected staircases between the levels. It was designed by a British designer. His name is Thomas, I'm going to kill his name, Heatherwick.
Okay, sounds British.
It looks almost like a beehive because it's kind of a honeycomb structure that's 16 stories high, 154 flights of stairs, and 80 landings. So you could walk it many times and never go the same way.
I mean, first of all, it sounds like a lot of exercise. Is it?
It is not. That is the funniest part about it. I was with a friend when we finally climbed it. You have to make a reservation. It's free. They are just giving you timed reservations to keep the flow of people on the vessel to a minimum. They don't want it overcrowded. So when we asked approximately how long it would take to walk up, because we had a dinner reservation we were heading to, and they said 20 minutes, and we looked at each other and started laughing. Nah, we're not going to make it in 20 minutes. And we started walking, and the walk is done in such a way that you never feel like you're climbing steps. The gradation of each of the steps is just like walking almost flat, which sounds ridiculous, but we were on the top in less than 20 minutes.
Wow. Are there prizes along the way? Do you get anything like when you get to a certain level?
There are no prizes, no restrooms, no nothing.
Wow.
It's just a beautiful, beautiful structure that going to become an iconic landmark in Manhattan.
Wow.
People have compared it to Escher, an Escher drawing.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yes,
when I saw the picture, I went, wow, that looks like something from the old exotic arts. Hey, tell me, you were saying it's where an old station was. Where would you say it is in relationship to the avenues? Is it like on? Oh,
it's 12th Avenue.
12th Avenue, and what, in the 30s or the 40s, or how far up?
In the 30s. In the 30s, around near Javits Center. Right near Javits, the convention center. And I'm sure the developers had a lot to do with it, but overnight there was the 7 train goes from Grand Central and more like Times Square and goes directly there with one stop. So there is a subway that takes you, because it's out in the middle, it's out far west, and there's no public transportation other than the 7 train.
How many restaurants?
But you can get there.
How many restaurants?
I don't think I could count.
Wow, that many?
I have experienced 3 or 4 of them so far. There are, Jose Andres has an entire Spanish food hall, and it's below we're still calling it a mall, but everyone calls it Hudson Yards, below Hudson Yards, and it's like they call it Mercado Little Spain, and it had various counters with traditional Spanish fare, from paella to patatas brava to churros to charcuterie, and there's a seafood restaurant there. There's a lot of table service, counter service. People are comparing that to Italy in New York City. I'm not sure if you have been there.
Yep.
And it's
that looks good.
Spanish.
We're looking at something that looks awfully tasty. Is that
like hummus?
That looks like hummus with pita
bread.
Yeah.
That was at Milos Wine Bar, and it went by too quickly to figure out which thing it was. It was quite tasty. So Milos is a restaurant that is on 5th Street in New York City. It's a top seafood restaurant, and they now have an outpost there on the 6th floor of Hudson Yards.
Yeah.
Yet they have a wine bar where you could just get a nibble, which is what was flying by on the screen a moment ago, and a glass of wine. It's still pricey. There's every level from Shake Shack to high-end restaurants. Well, that looks good. That was that actually was Tzatziki that went by.
Okay, and now we're looking at something that looks like is that beans, like garbanzo beans, maybe with tomato and maybe a little. It could be potatoes. No,
I might have to open. I don't. There it is. What was that?
Boy, that looked good though.
Yeah.
You're getting us hungry here.
I think it was ceviche. It was
ceviche.
Okay, well
it did look like some raw meat in there.
Yeah, that makes sense with Spain and all that. Now you went. I understand there's also a theater there.
Yes, there's a picture that went by. I just have to share with you. The Shed. They're calling it the Cultural Center. It's an unusual shed, I'll call it, that has a wide range of activities, performing arts, visual arts, and pop culture. I have now been there a couple of times. One time, my friend and I decided to go to a concert. We figured, okay, we just want to see the Shed, let's go to the concert. The tickets were free. We're both over 50, as you know, and we walk into the concert. We had gone to Milos for dinner, and we walked into the concert. It was general admission. We figured, okay, it's a concert. You know, you don't really need to sit up front. And we walked in, and it was standing room only, meaning there were no seats.
Oh, you mean you just stand? Oh. I hope it was a short concert.
No, it was a 2 hours.
You're kidding me.
Oh, no!
Ouch.
Wait, is this after you walked all the way up that pyramid of stairs?
Pyramid of stairs is not, it's almost like not even activity. That's how easy it is to walk up. It's a delight. But
standing for 2 hours is an activity.
That's harder.
Yes.
I'd rather walk.
So I spoke with the organizers and said, there's some of us who really need to sit, and it would have been nice had you told us ahead of time that it was standing only. And they said they realized that, and that was their first event, and from here on they would explain whether there were seats or just standing.
Huh.
Wow.
The other thing that was interesting, we went to this very weird, and there was a picture of a tree that went by, and that was what we were told was an art show, and basically it was trees that were just sitting there wrapped up with their ends wrapped up, and it's this woman who does performance art, and we just looked at each other and laughed. We kept on looking for another room where the exhibit was, as did the other people with us. So it got to be a conversation piece. So they are doing interesting things at the Shed. They're having artists, they're having performance, and the Shed is so unusual that it has weird, unusual architectural features, including a retractable shell that'll create a space for large-scale performances and installation events. And there's also a 500-seat theater. That's when they have the seats there. The seats can come or go out.
Wow. Bonnie, it sounds amazing. Now, tell me, before we say goodbye, people can, of course, subscribe to your newsletter, right?
Yes, biteofthebest.com. Newsbite newsletter comes out every 2 weeks, and there's a sign-up on our homepage, and it'll tell you what's the hottest new restaurants in New York City and around the world when I'm traveling.
Fantastic. Wow. Well, Bonnie, always such a great pleasure to have you on board. We're dying to hear about your theater report. Will we get you on in the near future to tell us what's happening in the theaters?
Absolutely. We should do it either right after or right before the Tonys, which are June 9th.
Got it. All righty. We'll do it right after, and we can kind of analyze if they were right or wrong. Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much, Bonnie.
Great.
Thank you.
You're the
Great
best.
speaking to you, too.
Thank you. Take care.
All right.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
All righty. Wow. I think
wanna walk
I'm ready to walk. Yeah, but I'm going to bring my own chair as far as the theater goes. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got more around the world. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bonjour Alex.
Bonjour Renaud.
Happiness? It's great food prepared the French way.
Chocolate eclair.
What makes you happy?
A touch of Paris.
Without the trip to France. Handcrafted daily in our bakeries, especially for you. Indulge yourself.
Bon appétit.
Please visit Renault's in Gelston, Santa Barbara, Long Beach, and La Cañada, Flint Ridge.
And welcome back to Around the World.
Hello.
Rebekah, you're flying this plane so well, you know? I mean, I'm amazed.
I try.
Can
First time.
I'm impressed. Can you get us all the way over to Europe now? Because I
Like
think
that.
Yeah, I think we want
I
to go
think we're
back.
there.
I think we want to go back because we know a guy who knows Europe better than the back of his hand. He is the
I'm here to learn.
He's the publisher of a fabulous publication called the Montecito Journal. And they do a glossy magazine. And this is a preview of what's going to happen.
So we're first. We're in the know.
First. Let's say hi to Jim Buckley. Hello, Jim.
Well, Arthur
Hey, Jim.
and Rebekah, very
Hello,
nice.
welcome.
Thank you. And by the way, it's easy to hold this hat on. I'm on the wing of your plane, and yet the hat is staying still. So I'm very happy.
You
Amazing.
just soar very
Great.
smoothly.
Super glued.
Well, you know, like how you travel, right?
There you go. Because I was on the Regent a ship, one of Regent's big 750 passenger ships. But
Wow.
you've got that. You've got the visual,
yeah,
right?
we've got.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a
That
huge
looks
ship.
incredible.
Where did you
Not
take
bad.
this?
750. That's not a big one.
Yeah, but I mean, in relative terms to my rowboat.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Or your yacht.
Where did you board it from?
We got it in Monaco,
Ah.
and we went from Monaco all the way around the boot of Italy. We went to Corfu, we went to Spain, we went to
Wow.
Sardinia,
Wow.
etc.
How many days?
It was a 12-day cruise,
Right.
and we went up the Dalmatian coast, so Split and
Sure.
Dubrovnik and those cities, although we didn't go to Dubrovnik because of the weather.
Oh, really?
But the reason I bring it up is because this ship and all of the Regent ships have these stabilizers that go out underwater.
I love that already.
And they're only about 16 feet out, but they're like airplane wings, which is why I brought the airplane wing up, trying to make a segue here.
I got it.
Connection.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, my wife, who takes bromine and whatever to get on the sea, she's not a good ship traveler, didn't even take anything. It was such a smooth flight. I say flight, but it was a cruise. Just
Wow.
beautiful.
So no turbulence, no
Nothing
rock.
like that. Now there was what they called a Medicane that came up.
What's
It's
that?
a hurricane in the Mediterranean.
Oh,
a Medicane.
Kind of like the Mistral type of thing?
Very much
Wow.
like that. It was not seasonal, and it was pretty horrific, really.
Wow.
That was the flooding. I don't know if you saw the flooding in
Sure.
Bordeaux. That's what that storm was. It came from there.
Wow.
What's
So
it like
we-
to be on a boat with that?
I
we
know.
stayed north. See, the captain would not go down there. So we were supposed to go to Capri, and I had a nice lunch planned overlooking the ocean, etc., for our anniversary, my wife and I.
Oh, so sweet.
But we didn't go to Capri, so we didn't go there. Now, when we first met, we'd been in Capri, so we were going to relive it, but it couldn't happen.
Nature wasn't going to
Oh,
play
well.
along with
But
it.
he stayed away, and we're pleased that he did.
Sure.
So it was great. Yeah.
Wow. Regent is considered to be one of the top luxury ships. Isn't it?
Couldn't say enough about them in a positive way.
How about the food?
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you about the foie gras. You guys were talking about foie gras.
Did you have any foie gras?
I had foie gras every night for 12 nights.
Wow.
It was so good.
Yeah. How good was it?
It was so good. Let me. I can
You
read
have a
this.
picture of it?
Well, no, I don't have a picture of it. Stupidly.
Something I could drool over.
But I do. I can tell you my copy here. I'll read it real quick.
Okay.
And it's on a pond of balsamic vinegar.
Yeah.
Right. It's pan roasted.
I love that.
Foie
So it's a
gras.
fresh foie gras. Huh?
Fresh foie gras. It's.
Not out of a can.
I saw the face of the goose, the poor
Oh,
goose. Now
poor
you don't
goose.
want duck. I mean, you can have duck foie gras, but
Yeah.
it's livery. This is heavenly. This is a reverie that you won't ever forget.
Wow.
So on a bed of balsamic vinegar, with a sprinkle of sea salt, Mongolian sea salt on top, and then on top of that some crushed pistachio. It was
Oh my
so good.
gosh.
So it was the very first night. I said, I'll try foie gras. You know? And I got to tell you, so I said it was so good, I was inclined to kiss the chef, the sous chef, our server, the goose whose liver I had just bitten into, the supplier, the ship's captain, and anyone even remotely connected to this plate of edible reverie.
Wow.
And I had it every night for 12
my
nights.
Gosh.
Oh,
Did you really
boy.
kiss the chef?
Well, I tried. I've got to tell you though, it's the most wonderful thing I've ever tasted.
Wow.
And somebody said, well, isn't it kind of chewy? I said, you don't even need teeth to eat this. It just melts.
It's done right.
You just eat it and it melts. There's nothing about it except all these taste buds. They start tingling.
Lit up.
So it sounds like meals were pretty good. Did you
The
ever?
food was excellent.
Was it hard to go ashore to eat because it was so good on board?
I don't know that we ever had a dinner on shore.
Wow.
There was absolutely no reason. We had some lunches,
Wow.
you know, on the various things, but no, we wanted to go back. I would say it was tantamount to a 2-star Michelin restaurant.
Wow,
It was that good
Incredible.
every night. Every night.
But you didn't feel too bloated from it?
Not at all.
Did you put on any weight?
I did not. Because we did a lot of walking.
When it's
Yeah,
fresh.
that's good.
Did a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Did you play any golf?
Played a little bit of golf
Whereabouts?
because this was a 3.5-month trip.
3.5 months.
3.5 months. Now, my wife only came for 2.5 months. So the first month I was alone.
Right.
I flew to Paris, of course, rented a car, went to Brittany, Saint-Malo, where I signed up for Alliance Française for a 3-week course.
Oh, yes.
And while I was there, I played at the Dinard Golf, among other places, which is where Hugh Grant plays, funny enough. But it's the second oldest golf course in France.
Really?
And Brittany is a wonderful place for golf because there's no mountains particularly. There's just nice, country rolling hills.
And you have some water too. Maybe.
And ocean views everywhere, bay views, etc. So it was very nice. So yeah, I stayed there for a month, and then I drove down to Nice.
Right.
Left my car at Nice, picked up the Hélène at the airport, and then we boarded our ship in Monaco.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, and of course, look, we've got not that much time, so we got to get on some of the other boats.
Oh, yeah,
Tell me about some of the other ones.
Well, this was called Europe on the Water. This is our new issue. Comes out a couple of weeks. I think we're printing on the 13th of June.
Right.
And it's Europe on the Water. So I've been to Europe many times. My wife is French, so we go there often. And over the past, let's say 15 years, it's become more and more difficult to go into the big cities in a car.
Right.
I don't even want to do it anymore. I'm still happy to drive the countryside. You can take the small roads. Everyone's on the highways, so it's not a problem. Getting into, I don't know if you've been to Florence lately, but in Florence, the one-way streets are changed every day.
What?
So they're one way this way on a Monday, and they're one way this way on a Tuesday.
How many accidents?
If you've been to London, you can't park, you can't drive, you get one lane, and all the buses and taxis and all the other lanes, you got nowhere to go.
Wow.
And almost all the cities are like that. So I thought, well, the canal system, particularly in France, but in a lot of Europe, in Germany too, was built as the highway of the day. And so I thought, well, what could be better than visiting Europe on the water? So I took a sea cruise. We took a barge cruise on the canals in the Canal de Midi. And then we also took a IMO Waterways riverboat on the Danube, which took us deeper into Eastern Europe.
Did you have water on the Danube?
Well, it wasn't exactly. This was a drought year. And so we were supposed to get on in one place, and we got on in another where there was water.
Yeah.
And
did you get on at Passat or whatever?
We got on at Passau.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Passau in Germany, because
right on the border of Austria.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But were you heading south towards Budapest or going the other way?
Yeah, we were going south.
Yeah, which is a beautiful cruise.
Wonderful,
I mean, you go through those Austrian mountains and rivers.
Well, the reason why we did that, we went on Christmas markets. So we were there late. It was late November.
Cold.
And it started to get cold. Boy, I had 3 months in a drought months. I had no rain for 3 months in Europe. And I'm in Brittany.
3
and I figured,
months?
when I went to Brittany, I said, well, not to worry. I don't care about the weather. We live in Santa Barbara, the greatest weather of the whole world.
That's true.
We had beautiful weather, never rained. It was somewhat crazy. But in any case, we got to the markets in Bratislava, which was my favorite.
You like Bratislava? I didn't like Bratislava.
Oh, really? Why?
No, I don't know. I felt it was kind of dirty and.
I like that.
You like the dirty? Okay.
But real life.
It was the markets, the Christmas markets in Bratislava.
There was no Christmas
outdoor
markets.
They
were the best. Yeah, outdoor markets. But the nice
favorite.
thing about the Christmas markets in all of Austria and all of Slovenia and those countries is that you cannot sell anything that you didn't make.
Really?
So they have all these booths, and we're talking hundreds.
See, we didn't see any of that.
I could do that.
When I was there, they didn't have the Christmas market. It was before Christmas. They had the garage sale markets.
Oh.
And you didn't want to buy any of it.
Yeah.
Didn't want any of it.
No, I will say that the food in Slovenia is okay. You get goulash and stuff like that. It's okay. Nothing like what we had on the region. And also IMO Waterways, by the way.
It was good food on
I'd
board.
give them a 1-star Michelin as well. They were excellent. Yeah. So.
Well, Jim, now this publication is coming out in June.
June 13th.
For our viewers that are outside of the Santa Barbara area, is there some way they can access it?
TheMJMag.com. THEMJMag.com. You can get our newspaper on that website as well as the magazine.
Fantastic.
And the glossy will be put there, probably not for another couple of weeks yet, though.
Right.
At some point.
But eventually they can see more about it.
Yeah.
Will you come back on and tell us more about your trips?
I'll tell you about the foie gras.
That's
those
almost,
cruises.
I got excited.
That's
I'm
my
sort of sweating.
That's what I want to do.
That foie gras. That was a great moment. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for inviting me.
It's
Thanks.
great.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be going to Japan with
My
Rebekah.
turn.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Sometimes people fall on hard times. There are lots of families in our community that can't afford to feed their families. That means kids go to school hungry, and their parents don't even know where the next meal will come from. The Unity Shop treats these families with respect, allowing them to shop in the free food store for stuff their families like and use.
Right now, we are desperately in need of funds to buy turkey and chicken for families who will go without this holiday season. If you can help, please go to unityshop.org.
Konnichiwa! Ohayou gozaimasu! Welcome aboard the Japanese version of Around the World. And now we have Rebekah-san with us.
Rebekah-san, yes.
It is so nice.
Fresh from Japan.
You know, that is so exciting because I know we were chatting when you were over in Japan and you were in a very exotic place. But first of all, take us how you got to Japan, and I know you went kind of.
You want my story getting there?
A little bit of that, yeah.
Well,
sure.
It's kind of the first time out of the country and alone, going to a completely very special place. Mm-hmm. I went somewhere where not a lot of people visit.
Right.
But yeah, it was 2 planes and 2 trains, and
wow.
It was quite an experience. But then I did go business class with Skylux. That was incredible. I got to sleep, lay back. I mean, the food was amazing. So, the start to it was incredible.
Great.
Slept on the way there. Flew into Shanghai.
Right.
Then I went to Tokyo,
Narita.
Narita. And then I took 2 trains to get to Shizuoka.
How far is Shizuoka in a train?
So about 2.5 hours, 2 hours,
South?
45, south, yeah. So
heading down towards
basically,
Hamamatsu and
I kind of landed
Nagoya.
in the middle, and then my whole trip kind of kept taking me more and more south, Japan, where I ended up on the most southern island, which is where Kagoshima is, and that's where they have the actual active volcano. Sakurajima. You can see the ash puffing every day. Yeah, I mean, it hasn't gone off in over 100 years, but it's pretty amazing because you've got the Kagoshima Bay, and then you've got this incredible volcano with ash coming up, but because of it, the soil around there, that's why Kagoshima is known for the best matcha, because you have this amazing volcanic soil minerals that go into the soil, so the nutrients are incredible. And also the town around Kagoshima and Kirishima, which was my last destination where the actual farms are, it's about 500 meters above sea level. Right. And that is what creates the best matcha, because it's higher up than anywhere else.
So, now, explain to our viewers and listeners who might not know what we're talking about when we say matcha. What's matcha?
So matcha, simply put, it's in the green tea family. So with regular green tea is known as sencha, like the tea leaves that you steep. You drink a cup of very, very light, pale yellow green green tea. With matcha, they actually it's a special green tea plant, and with our farm, it's actually grown for 5 years. So it is a lot of work that goes into taking this green tea plant and growing it and cultivating it. It has to have the right soil, the right conditions. The high altitude creates a mist over this green tea plant that actually, it stresses out the plant, which sounds kind of funny, but the shade without the sun coming through creates this theanine content, and the nutrients just increase. So by the time it's done and it's actually the matcha that we know about, it's this beautiful deep green tea plant, and it's known as tencha. And so it's sencha, tencha. So with the tencha or the matcha, they actually take it and they grind the whole plant into a powder. So you're drinking the whole food. It's not a steeped green tea leaf, which you'd have to drink about 40 cups just to get even close to the antioxidants that you have in the matcha green tea plant. And what's really neat is I got to learn, I spent 4 days with the tea smallier, the farmer, the family, the people who basically bring it to the rest of the world. And Kirishima is within Kagoshima. So, like I said, Kagoshima has become well known for having the best matcha, but the best matcha is Kirishima. It's this region that is like known for the best organic fields. And there's no fields around Kirishima that's not organic. Because in Kagoshima, you can have an organic field, but you also have conventional non-organic, and it actually can kind of cross-contaminate. So Kirishima, like in my picture, that is the purest, highest quality in the world.
So when these plants grow, they get up to waist level.
Oh my gosh, we walked through it, and I'm really glad I wore boots because apparently there's, sometimes there's snakes that go through. I mean, they don't use pesticides, herbicides, anything. Everything is natural. So you've got spiders, you've got bugs, and so we're walking through and I was just looking, but the plants are so like robust and firm. I mean, there's one picture I took where I'm literally like laying on it.
Oh, wow.
I could have just laid on, and
Did you ever nibble on an actual plant?
I did.
What's it taste like?
It doesn't have a lot of flavor before they steam dry it. So at first, it tastes fresh. I don't even know how to, it's not bitter. It's very shiny. It almost looks like it has like an oil film over it. And it is so green and vibrant. I mean, I literally felt like I had a buzz or a natural high just walking through the fields. Yeah. The energy is so potent.
That's something I think people may not also recognize, is the fact that matcha is an amazing alternative to coffee. Really.
Oh, it is. I mean, what's really neat is, I've been drinking it for 22 years, and back when I was 19, I couldn't handle coffee. I couldn't handle a lot of the acidic caffeines. It just hurts my stomach, and gut health is important. So when I started using matcha, it's like everything changed, and you get that energy and that endurance and focus, but it's on a totally different level from coffee. And what's really neat with matcha is, what makes matcha special is it contains L-theanine. You're literally eating this amino acid that people take, in a pill, but when you're eating it and you're consuming it, it actually goes through the blood-brain barrier and stimulates your brain.
Well, that's what I'm wondering about.
So it's brain power. It's not.
Yeah. I've noticed when, if I take matcha, if I drink a matcha drink in the morning, which I do, it really helps bringing on clarity.
Focus and clarity. Yeah, I mean, and that's why I was so excited when I really started learning about matcha. And as a nutritionist, I would tell people, well, go take L-theanine. So people would take this capsule. You might notice a little bit, but no, you eat the matcha. I mean, you're eating this whole food, and the L-theanine that you get and what it does for your brain is just phenomenal. Like, nothing compares to getting it as a whole food. Wow. And it's like, I always tell moms, this is like my golden, this is like the most amazing gift of nature for everybody. Balances your hormones, and it's an adaptogen, which means it's a smart superfood. So matcha, you drink it, and it's not just about energy and endurance, but it literally goes in your body and it assesses the situation. It says, okay, what does this body need? Does it need help with your hormone, your energy, your, when you have less stress, you're gonna produce less cortisol, so it's amazing for, weight management. It's not gonna force it because it adapts, but if you need it, it'll help you with that. If you need more endurance, it's gonna help you with that. If you have stress and I drink it at night, it's not gonna force energy, it's gonna give me the focus that I need. And that calming effect, like the farmer, they call it a calming energy. They don't think of matcha as this crazy energy Red Bull replacement or espresso. To them, when you talk to them about matcha, it's calm. It's about that soothing. If you think about, with Japanese and it's the tradition for the samurai warrior, they weren't all crazy and, let's just go ballistic. No, it was a very focused, some of the most focused people. And the Buddhist monks, when they brought it in from China in the 1100s AD, they used it because they needed it for focus, clarity, to have the endurance and energy to meditate for hours, and to really be clear. So, for samurai warriors, it was a focused energy. So, so it was just, I don't even know how to.
Well, can you show us how you make it? Because there's a ceremony that goes with.
It is a ceremony, and so I know sometimes I've in the morning, I'm running quickly and I'll just throw everything in the blender and stuff. But with this culture, you know, it's you take the time and you appreciate it. And so there's a picture. This is a woman that did some teaching with me, and you always have the bamboo whisk. Bamboo whisk cuts the matcha. You know, you can stir it with a spoon or a metal whisk, and it's going to be clumpy. Right. And I always tell people, I mean, it's not that it's bad; it's fiber. It's a whole food. You're going to have clumps, but bamboo cuts it and whisks, you know, blends it beautifully and brings out the creaminess. One of the people at the farm, they call their ceremonial matcha creamy, and that's what it should be. And it should be able to create a foam,
right?
Like a lather, almost like a thick foam that stays and maintains the whole time.
Wow.
Otherwise, it's not good quality matcha.
Okay. So then how much matcha do you put into
traditional, they told me I was doing a little too much. I told them I was doing like a tablespoon, which is 6 grams. They're like, oh, Rebekah, no. Like, break it up, you know. So even for them, they would prefer you doing it more often rather than the mom that's just trying to chug it down.
Okay, got it.
So 2 grams or a teaspoon. These are great. They're bamboo, and everybody uses them over there because it's supposed to be actually the most accurate.
All right.
So you just do that.
Wow, look at that. Okay.
I mean, everything there is a ceremony. You know, the way you scoop it, the temperature of the water ideally should be warmer.
Right.
And they have this tureen. I mean, it's pretty incredible watching it. And I'm using our black label. So remind me to mention
which is a really premium.
What makes the ceremonial.
Okay.
That's another thing people don't realize.
All right.
So with this, you push into the bottom. First, you kind of dab it a little bit.
So you got to imagine what I'm seeing is the water is starting to blend in with.
Yeah. So I'm pushing into it. Now when the lady had me do it, she was like, get the foam. So I did it, you know, it should maybe 20 seconds, but my wrist got a little sore.
It's like sitting next to a Vitamix right here. I love it. A red Vitamix.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see the foam. We have foam happening.
So you start getting some foam.
Right.
And you're just basically pushing into the bottom. It's kind of like zigzag. Some people call it a figure 8. I think it's more of a zigzag. If I were to take the time and do it a little bit more, in Japan, I got a full-on foam.
Right, okay.
So you're done. Normally you rinse it.
Okay. And then we got to drink.
And you put it this way.
The time is running fast, so we got to.
Okay, so now this
quickly,
is all for you.
All for me. I'll be clear for the next.
Well, you can sip.
Couple of days.
You know, Americans tend to do things very, very fast and down it. You can take your time.
Actually, it's not bitter at all.
And matcha is really good for cleaning your teeth. So like with coffee and tea, people always try and drink it fast. Matcha cleans your teeth. That's the next thing is a matcha toothpaste.
Wow.
So when you drink
it's delicious.
Yeah, drink it slow, swish it, and
If people want to get hold of Got Matcha, they can go to your website, right? GotMatcha.com.
Yes, GotMatcha.com.
And you can order the black label, which is the premium.
We have the premium. We've got flavors. We have the matcha chaga bar, which is one of our newer.
So it's delicious.
I mean, you can eat your matcha.
Yeah.
And it's a raw bar. That is probably one of our favorite, and a matcha creamer. But if I have one quick second, so the one thing I learned with ceremonial matcha is a lot of people are saying we have ceremonial matcha and they don't know what it means. Well, the reason why true ceremonial matcha is more expensive is when it's grown for 5 years and not 2 or 3 like most farms. It gets the deeper roots, more nutrients, and at this farm they only pick the top 4 leaves. You've got the whole plant, and they let it keep going, and that is where the sweetest, that's where you have the theanine.
That's why it tastes so good.
And it's shade grown for the last 25 days before they harvest it. They put a tarp over the matcha for 25 days. And then you have theanine.
Rebekah, I am so enchanted by all this. Thank you so much for coming today. Thank you for sharing this great insights.
Welcome.
And we want to thank you all for watching us here on Around the World. And we want to thank our director, Michael Nicholson, our editor, Ken Baxter, and of course the wonderful people at SBTV, Channel 17, including Eric Davis, Mark, JP, and Heba. And we'll see you next time on Around the World. Happy trails.
Thank you for traveling with us today on Around the World. We hope you'll join us for another adventure next week. In the meantime, all of us at Around the World wish you happy trails.